necessarily mean virgin.
But it does mean virgin,
It wouldn't make
too.
any sense without
Well,
it.
let's read Isaiah here. For a child will be born to us, a son will be given to us. For the government will rest on his shoulders, and his name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Eternal Father, Prince of Peace. There will be no end of his increase of his government or peace on the throne of David and over his kingdom, to establish it and to uphold righteousness.
First of all, I love how you don't know Hebrew and you can sing.
Well, I can get somebody here that can.
I know Hebrew. You continuously turn the present tense into the future. I love how you do that.
No, this is.
I love how you do it.
This is translated by better people know Hebrew better than you do.
Let me say something. Let me say something. Oh, sir, let me say something that might help you on this. Isaiah was a prophet. He was speaking to the people of Israel because they were following pagan idols and that they were going to go into captivity. But at the same time, he was speaking of future events. He was speaking sometimes of two things at once.
What do you want to ask? He said.
You don't believe that? What about when he mentions Cyrus? What about when he talks about a Babylonian captivity? What about when he talks about, we'll talk about Isaiah 7:14, when it says, a sign will be given, a sign will be given. A sign will be given to the Jews. To the Jews.
Yes, you're right.
The prophet to the Jewish people.
And he says, here's the big sign, a woman will have a child. No, a virgin will have a child. What kind of sign is it that a woman will have a child? And I still want to know what you do without any sacrificial lamb anymore.
I'll be brief.
Oh, they just asked the Lord to forgive them, so there's no punishment for sin. No punishment.
Tell them about Leviticus.
There isn't. All you can say is, oh, Lord, forgive me. He said there has to be life for life, blood for blood. And you know that.
Your sin when you stand before God.
I have a question. Let's say you steal something. Does a carbon fix that? A carbon would never fix. You had to repay the person, and until you repay the person, that sin is not forgiven.
You forgot Jeremiah 31:31. He said, I will change your heart. I will circumcise your heart. I will go ahead and read 31:34 in the new covenant that was shed in Jesus Christ's blood.
Let me say something.
No, what about...
Well, what about where it says in Isaiah 40:18, the words of the Lord shall stand firm forever, and it is a law for all time. Numbers 19:21. The covenant will never change. I can continue giving you quotes. There shall be one law for you and one law for the convert. It shall be a law for all time throughout the ages. Numbers 15:14. Numbers 15:21. You shall make a gift to the Lord from the first of your baking fruits throughout the ages. Exodus 31:16, the Israelite people shall keep the Sabbath, observing the Sabbath throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. Deuteronomy 4:2, every word which I command, you shall observe and do it forever, and you shall not add to it, you shall not diminish it. Observe his laws and commandments which I adjoin upon this day, that it may go well with you and your children after you, and that you may live in the land that your Lord will give you for all time.
You're not making a point at all.
Have the Jewish people always lived there?
I am making a point that God says that the covenant will never change. The Torah will never change. And you come up and make a bunch of gobbledygook. Then, it says here that he will give them a new heart. So what? What does that mean about changing the covenant? Where does it say, I will change the covenant?
It does. Let me read it to you, sir. And plus, let me say one thing. The law never saved you. The law condemns you, sir.
The law? What do you mean the law condemns me? What are you talking about?
Because the law is contrary to you because you can't fulfill it.
What do you mean I can't fulfill it?
Because Jesus said that it said in your...
I don't care.
Let me say, it says in your law not to murder, but Jesus said if you hate somebody in your heart, you committed murder.
You're...
That's the real law.
That is not my law. That's him coming up with my law.
The law never saved you. The law was there to bring you to Christ, to show you that you were a sinner.
The law was not there to bring me to Yeshka.
How does the law save you?
What do you mean, how does the law say? I have commandments that I'm supposed to do. I have to wear tzitzis. Your exact 613 commandments. 600, yes, I keep them.
Do you obey every one of them?
Yeah. Well, let me go ahead and read...
Do you obey every one of them?
Yes.
No.
I bet you don't.
Well, let me go ahead and read you the new covenant.
What do you mean? How can you get up there and tell me what I do? You weren't there in the morning when I wrapped the fill-in. You were not there. I'm wearing tzitzit.
You never sinned? You never sin?
I'm not saying I never sin.
Well, then you broke the law.
What do you do with your sin when you stand before God? What do you do with your sin?
You have to
I'm telling about the
We're not judging
satisfaction
him.
of Christ.
We're
I
having
don't
a
have a log in
discussion,
my
which is
eye.
true.
Jesus said, remove the
Judaism
log
and
in my eye
Christianity.
and go back.
We're both sinners.
Okay?
Okay.
We're not judging anyone.
We're both
We're having a discussion.
We're both sinners.
And Christ himself says they will never hate.
I know, but the law condemns you. It doesn't save you.
No, you condemn.
No.
We're not condemning anyone.
Because
We're having a discussion,
if you
sir.
break the law, any of the 10 Commandments, you were stoned.
You're condemning
There was
us.
no sacrifice for sin that was committed intentionally. No sacrifice in the law.
Let me say
There's
something,
no
David.
sacrifice for intentional sin. You need Christ. But let me,
What do you mean I need Christ?
because you're, let me
Everyone needs
read
Christ.
you and I'll let it go. Jeremiah 31 about the new covenant. Behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Not like the covenant which I made with their fathers in the day I took them by the hand out of Egypt. And
Wait. Let's not talk over each other.
Continue. I will put the Torah within them. It says, I will put the Torah within them.
It says you broke his covenant. It says that you broke my covenant, although a husband, declares the Lord.
Let's continue. So if Yeshua fulfilled this, then he must have fulfilled what it says in verse 34. No longer will anyone need to teach one another, for they will all know them, the least and greatest. That means if Yeshua fulfilled this, what the heck are you doing out here trying to teach me something? Because everybody will know everything about God when the Mashiach comes. You made a mistake. He didn't fulfill it because in 34, he didn't fulfill it. You're making it up.
It's a prophecy. Jeremiah's a prophet, sir.
Oh! But see, how can you fulfill a part here and a part there? It's all connected. If you do this, then you have to do this. If you don't do part 2, you ain't part 1.
No, it's going to do, because when Jesus comes back and when the final remnant of the Jews come back, that's what the prophecy says. There's many things in Jeremiah about when Israel comes back, when the lion will lie down with the lamb. That hadn't been fulfilled, so I guess it's not going to be fulfilled. Oh, you can't do it. I guess it's not going to be.
David, let me see this. Hey, David, let me say something.
You just proved my point. You do not understand your Torah.
I do it. What do you understand about the Torah? I asked you. Okay, let's. I did. No.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you can ask me a question.
Here's the point. You're Jewish. You say that you got to do certain things, that when you go before God, you'll be okay with God. What are you telling everybody out here, according to your own Bible, that they have to do to have good standing with God? What do they do with their sin?
It depends. It depends if they're Jewish or not Jewish.
Oh, if you're Jewish or not Jewish. So God can't make everything fine for the Jew and the non-Jew.
They have different. I'm not saying I'm saying he is coming for the Gentiles, but they have different responsibilities.
What are you, even as a Jew, what are you going to do when you stand before God and he says, okay, you've sinned, and there should have been an atonement for it, because even in the Talmud, in Yom 5H, it says, without the shedding of blood, there is no atonement for sin.
Let's get back. Why are you quoting the Talmud?
You know, every time we talk, you get these quotes about all these things that I have to know God. God said he sent the Messiah. You must accept it by faith, that the Messiah came and died for your sins, and that's it.
I've got quotes.
But he tells us, he warns us about what would happen when prophets would come. If there appears amongst you a prophet or a dreamer divine and gives you a sign or a portent, saying, let us worship another God whom you have not experienced.
Hold on a second. I just want to say that what we're out here doing is defending Christianity, okay? We want to have discussions. We believe the Bible is the Word of God. We believe God would communicate with us. Now, we believe that God is holy and He's just, and that He tells us we're in a fallen state and we're separated from God by our sin and sin nature. Now, in order for Him to be just, He must punish the sin. In Leviticus it says that without the shedding of blood, there's no remission of sin. Also in the New Testament, it says the wages of sin is death. Why do we die? But God's also a loving God. And out of His love, and all foreshadowed through the Old Testament, is a promised Redeemer, a promised Messiah. One that in Isaiah 53 would pay for the sins of His people. It talks about salvation and light unto the Gentiles, which is non-Jews. God so loved the world, He sent Jesus Christ to fulfill the law, fulfill prophecy, fulfill everything that's needed for us to have a relationship with God. He was sacrificed, laid his life down on the cross, and he rose from the dead, proving to be acceptable sacrifice in both Lord and Christ. And we talked about a lot of foreshadowing of lamb sacrifices in the Old Testament. Larry's got some quotes here from the Talmud.